You know, a lot of people seem to sleep on the Punch-Out arcade games. To be fair, they're definitely the worst Punch-Out games, but that's being a small fish in a big pond. I definitely think they deserve more respect than they get. So today I'm gonna rank all the fights from easiest to hardest. We have 11 opponents, but this game has title defense fights for all the fighters, so that brings the total to 22. Okay, so for some reason Kid Quick just doesn't have a rematch fight, so that brings the total down to 21. Why doesn't he have a title defense fight? Alright, that aside, let's get into the ranking! Is anyone actually surprised? Starting off with our 1 F-tier fighter, we have this French fried fuck. He has 3 attacks, a taunt that leaves him completely open, a ridiculous stun time, atrocious defense, horrible damage output, and no durability. That said, because of the way this game works, I do think most people will lose to Joe at least once, but as soon as you understand the engine, you can dunk on this guy in less than a minute. Moving on.
Rapidly intensifying into a rare Category 5 hurricane.
Moving up into D tier, Piston Hurricane hailing from Havana, Cuba is pretty similar except with better defense, more damage, and his taunt leads into his classic Hurricane Rush, which requires you to alternate your guard. The problem is, aside from Rush, he doesn't really have anything new, he's just a bit faster and a bit stronger, so you shouldn't have too much trouble with him after beating Glass Joe.
I don't think you have any idea how fast I really am. I'm fast as fuck, boy.
Kid Quick, hailing from New York, USA, is a palette swap of Glass Joe with the same moves, but no taunt and a gimmick. His gimmick is he's pretty durable and doesn't give you a large window for stun. He also has amazing defense and will stall out the clock a lot. But if you can play evasive for long enough to fill your super meter, he's pretty much done. Unlike almost every other fighter, all of Kid Quick's attacks put him into a specific type of stun, where super punching him won't cancel the stun, so you can basically just wail on him. Don't get too cocky though, as he can still dodge your super punches, and will most likely counter right after. Needless to say, I have no idea how this guy is ranked higher than Bald Bull in the game.
I mean, dude's name is literally a combination of Glass Jaw and Average Joe.
It didn't take us long to get back to Glass Joe, huh? Now, oddly enough, some parts of this fight are easier? He gives you more stun, which is ridiculous. And aside from that, the main things that make this fight harder are things that apply to all rematches in the first game. One is that in title defense, you're only allowed 2 knockdowns instead of 3. This also applies to Super Punch-Out as well. 2. Attack acceleration. The more he hits you, the faster his attacks are, to the point where you basically need to anticipate. If you can't, you're fucked. But his attacks are the exact same and he still does no damage. So if you get into this kind of situation, you're just bad. And you shouldn't be this bad if you've made it this far, but you best not count out the little guy, otherwise he'll be champion in record time.
If you encounter a grizzly bear and try to run, they'll easily catch you.
We finally arrived at our first Super Punch-Out fighter. Bear Hugger, hailing from Salmon Arm, Canada, sets the stage perfectly for the ball-bustingly hard experience that this game will be. He shows off some of the new mechanics well, innovative attacks, ducking, and instant knockdowns. He only has a basic jab, hook, and uppercut for his first phase, but whenever he gets up from a knockdown, he throws an ear clap that you need to duck. Otherwise, it's an instant knockdown. However, if you dodge this, you'll get the same special stun I mentioned earlier with Kid Quick, so it makes dodging it feel so good. A great first fighter, and probably the hardest one in the series, unless you count title defense Glass Joe or some shit like that.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Moving up into C tier, we have Bald Bull, hailing from Istanbul, Turkey. He has a jab combo, which is basically just a free hit, 2 hooks, which are telegraphed with a hand shuffle, and his bull charge, which you can parry if you're good enough. That bull charge takes his fight from a gut check to forcing you to give him a gut check. This attack is also an instant knockdown, but if you manage to parry it, then he's the one getting the instant knockdown. Wait, you can just dodge the bull charge? Why?
We also do strength training. You make your legs strong, you can take on any opponent.
Hailing from Hong Kong, the country, not the city, Dragon Chan is here to kick ass. Literally. The main gimmick of this fight is none of his jabs will give you stun, so you'll need to find your way through his guard in order to do damage. The one attack that will give you stun is his kick, another attack that you need to duck, or you get knocked down. That said, it is piss easy to dodge because it is very telegraphed. So this fight might be a wall at first. He may take you to decision, but he's not too bad.
It's me, Mario. I eat the spaghetti and I have a big, beautiful mustache. Oh,
We're nothing like that.
We're not even halfway through the list and we're already at B tier territory. Pizza Pasta, hailing from Napoli, Italy, has a few jab and hook combos, but that's about it, unless you provoke him. If you hit him with a jab, he'll counter with an uppercut or hook, and after a certain amount of time, he'll counter with a clinch and then immediately uppercut. In order to dodge it, you need to hold a direction while he's grabbing you. If you do, you'll dodge and get that same special stun, so it's basically a free knockdown because it lasts forever. Awesome! Honestly, the main difficulty here is finding out how to deal with the clinch, but that challenge alone would bump this up to at least a C tier, especially considering he does this really difficult rush after the clinch if he hits you with the uppercut.
But his true ace in the hole is how different he is to your puny American stylings and expectations.
Hailing from the USSR, Vodka Drunkinsky is here to make you Apollo Creed, while he's Ivan Drago. Was that cringy? I don't care, I'm leaving it in. He has two phases. The first phase has him using a jab and a left hook, then two jabs and a right hook. He'll do that for a bit, then we'll go to his second phase. He'll use jabs to throw you off, a two-hook combo, and a fast uppercut. His uppercut is devastating because it is incredibly fast. The first phase is honestly incredibly easy, but the second phase forces you to have good reaction time. And if you don't, you're screwed. But if you can react to his attacks, then you'll beat him just like the last American to face the motherland.
Cheese of truth! You will be bald forever.
Bald Bull is honestly very similar for the first little bit. His hooks aren't any faster, although he will throw a right hook occasionally. However, as soon as the bull charge comes out, you realize he isn't fucking around anymore. He'll throw in some fake outs and the charge is unparryable. After that, the fight goes downhill fast. He'll just keep using this stupid 4-jab combo which leaves him completely open and drains time on the clock. This fight starts off strong, and just becomes annoying and irritating by the end, which makes every loss all the more heartbreaking. If I were to describe this fight in 3 words, those 3 words would be tedious, difficult, and...
it's a bear!
Speaking of title defense fights, rounding out the B tier is Bear Hugger. This guy goes from a pathetic fight with one decent move to a devastating slugger. His main gimmick is he will rarely give you stun, and even if he does, it'll only be like 3 or 4 hits max. However, once you fill your super meter, you can clobber him. But wait, Kid Quick did the same thing, and he's down in D tier. Well, even though Kid Quick has a small stun window, if you do stun him, you can absolutely pummel him, especially with super punches. But that's not the case here. Even once you get your super meter filled, you need to use it responsibly, otherwise he's gonna take it, and fast. Oh, by the way, keep in mind his bear hug is still an instant knockdown. He is almost the most improved fighter in title defense, but Piston Hurricane and Dragon Chan exist. Oops, spoilers!
Wanna see a magic trick? Good. Abracadabra!
Great Tiger is not a great start to the A tier. His fight just kinda exists. He has a Hurricane Rush and a 4 uppercut combo, but that's it. The one thing I will say is he respawned with so little health, and combining that with his attacks being pretty fast, you get a basic A tier. Hopefully our next fight will be more interesting. The last thing I said should be ignored completely because this fight is boring. It's pretty much the exact same, and the only thing that puts it this high is the thing I was talking about with Glass Joe. As you take damage, his attack speed accelerates, making it really bad if you get into a position where you need to anticipate rather than react. So why is he not higher? Just don't get into that situation in the first place, dude. If you're this far into the game, you should be able to not get into that situation. But the fact that that situation can happen in the first place puts it up here.
Mr. Sandman. Yes? Bring us a dream.
The champion of the first game is here, and he's kinda easy. Now, to be fair, this game does actually get started in title defense, but this man is still pretty anticlimactic. The main export here is his devastating uppercuts, including a 3 uppercut combo. Does that sound familiar? The big problem here is a left jab leads him to counter, which will give you 3 hits of stun, and then you can do it again. Then you can do it again, and now you have a full super meter. Then you can do it again, except you hit him with a super. Then you can do it again, and oh, he's down. The one problem is he's not always consistent with whether he counters or not, but he's still pretty cheesable. Thankfully, his other fight, as well as the other champion, isn't as anticlimactic as Sandman.
Hurricane to Mike.
Piston is mostly the same, except his rush will never end unless you counter the hits, but after the rush ends, he just does the same thing as title defense Bald Bull. He just stalls out the clock. This is unbelievably irritating, and I hate it with a passion. It's so goddamn boring, and also very frustrating. While it's not hard for good reasons, it's still hard, so that puts it up here.
Is Invincible Colossus to end your career, no?
Vodka's title defense fight is pretty much the exact same, except he's faster. No, seriously, that's it. Okay, he's also stronger, but that applies to every title defense fight. That said, making Vodka's attacks faster makes him so much harder, especially with the uppercuts. Sometimes the simplest changes are all you need.
Night.
Starting with the S tier, we have title defense Sandman. Much like Vodka, Sandman is just faster and harder. That's what she said. That said, this combined with the attack speed acceleration makes him pretty devastating, but the only reason he's not higher is just because the people above him are just better. Oh, and by the way, say goodbye to this game. We're not going to be seeing it again after this. It's only Super Punch-Out from here on out.
Magic.
Tiger is perfect to be right above Sandman because this fight basically combines several other fights. Sandman's 3 uppercut combo, Piston's 2 jab 1 hook combo, Bald Bull's jab combo, Pizza Pasta's 4 jab combo, as well as some of the combos from his previous fights, and the cheesableness of all the fights. Much like Sandman, if you hit him with a left jab, he'll counter. The thing is his counter uppercut is much slower, so you can hit him with another left jab in order to counter his uppercut, which can lead to the fight sometimes just looking like this. That said, this doesn't always work, considering he has another thing that all the original arcade fighters have. The exact same attack speed acceleration, which can be devastating. His attacks are also devastating, and since they all come in combos, you'll probably take multiple hits at a time, draining your super meter, which can be awful.
I've been seeing a lot of confusion online about what an SMP is. You know, like the Minecraft thing. Obviously, it's an acronym, but I always see people get it wrong. It actually stands for Super Macho Man.
Unlike Mr. Sandman, Super Macho Man, hailing from Los Angeles, California, USA, does deserve to be the champion, because he is ridiculously hard. All of his attacks are combos starting with 2 jabs, and he'll follow it up with either a left hook, an uppercut, or a single fast Macho spin, or 2 instant knockdown spins. That's all he has, but that's all he needs. Granted, he doesn't have any RNG tricks, complicated attacks, or stalling, but what he does have is pure raw difficulty, and said difficulty comes from the reaction time you need to dodge his attacks. That said, I think the best strategy here is actually to use any hints or cues to anticipate what Macho is gonna do.
I kicked my doctor in the balls.
Dragon Chan is absolutely brutal. His gimmick of having to look for openings is still here, but it's much harder because if you whiff, he'll counter. Also, his kick forces you to react, but the opportunity is mere frames. Not just that, but he does a second kick! That said, the second one always comes out at the same time, so it's not as bad. Also, you respawn with so little health that one hit will knock you out. Not down, out. This fight is by far the biggest improvement from a contender fight, but only in difficulty because this fight is painfully unfun. That said, it is hard, and it definitely deserves to be at the top of S tier. But wait, we still have one fight to go. Yes, we do. So let's move up into P tier.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. Introducing in the red corner, the champion of the world.
Title Defense Super Macho Man. Now, not to be anticlimactic, but there's only a few changes. 1, he has a 2-hook combo. 2, his attacks are faster and stronger, obviously. 3, he can just dodge super punches sometimes. But this all pales in comparison to his new Infinispin. His clothesline requires you to cycle your ducks properly, but the thing is, his last spin will be faster than the rest, so you need to be prepared to react to that. Not just that, but the clock is still going. This attack does not stop the clock. The clock will not wait for you. Not only is this the hardest attack in the game to dodge, but the game spits in your face by forcing you to dodge it while watching the clock slowly drain away. And that's another thing. This guy will probably time you out several times, as he did to me, because he has a lot of health, and he has so much time control. Overall, this fight is gonna be a bloodbath, either for you or Macho, and unless you're prepared to be ready for anything, Macho will take his title back in seconds flat. But if you can duck and weave around his attacks, and counter with your strongest moves, he won't stand a chance. Kiss Death's scythe, and hammer it into Macho, that you're the champion now. And it's gonna stay that way.
Great fighting! You're an up-and-coming boxer.
So, that was the list. Did you agree? Did you disagree? Let me know any changes you would make. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that jazz. Free schlep, and I'll see you later.